Hey, what's going on? Welcome to the Doug.Show. My name's Doug Cunnington, and today we have an update from Christy for September of 2022. And pretty fun update. We've had some ups and downs over the course of this year, but overall, revenue is pretty high, over 10,000 total, and we'll break that down, of course, and record traffic for her site, and that is something like 144,000 visitors for the month. And it appears we have no real impact from the recent Google algorithm updates. If you are just joining this case study, Christy and I have been working together for a few years. We did a case study in 2021 where she doubled revenue to about 70,000. This year, she's exceeded that. We're working on, improving her site and adding more content and all the pieces that go along with that. So we do these monthly updates and we'll link up so that you could check out some of the other ones. If you want to catch up and binge and maybe watch like 20 episodes all in a row, you can do that. You could listen to the first episode when Christy hit like $100 in a month, which was that circa 2019?
Yeah.
Amazing. So anyway, Christy, how's it going today?
Hey, it's going pretty well. The site had a birthday this month, so yeah, turned 4 years old.
Do you remember when you
Our
actually
baby.
bought the domain name and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it was like at the end of 2018. It was probably like a month after I first met with you.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
That sounds right. Very cool. And we actually, for the people that don't know, we actually met in person because we lived like a mile or like maybe a mile and a half away. And we met through a mutual friend. And then, you got started pretty quick. And then I changed your life, I think.
You changed my life, Doug. And thank you for mentioning that because that's so true.
And anyway,
and so now you can't get rid of
me. We'll get into all the details. And congrats on and happy birthday to the site.
Thank you.
So yeah, what did revenue and traffic look like this year? Or this month, sorry.
Yep. So for September, I had 7,300 for the site and still also had that writing retainer that we've talked about in the past. Check out the past episodes if you don't know about that. So in total, 10,700. That makes it 84,000 for the year, also including that writing retainer. Tracking at 54 without including that. And then lifetime earnings, 177,000 from just the site. And if you factor in that writing retainer, 208,000. So that's pretty cool. Traffic wise, like you said, I think it's a high month for traffic, the highest I've had at 144,000 and lifetime over 3 million. So that was cool.
Very cool. It's good to have it's kind of a nice holding pattern, and the site's getting more traffic, earning more money from work that you did a few months ago. Right. And this case study, you named it the something site
growth trifecta.
Growth trifecta. So what is the try part of the trifecta?
Sure. So it's doing the ad affiliate side of things, which I was doing kind of from the get-go, and then improving existing content, and then selling my own products. So between those three things, we both had kind of talked about it at the beginning of the year and decided that if we could improve all three of those areas, that would generally lift the site.
Okay. And then with your own products, we've kind of abandoned that now at this point, right? Roughly?
I mean, a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I still have the digital guides out there because it is zero work for me at this point to leave them out there for $9. But yeah, I think the media kit is kind of where I'm pivoting to for the time being. And so I'm excited to see where that grows.
And we'll talk a little bit more about the media kit. I think it's important to highlight the pivot, like you said. So was it hard moving away from something that you put a lot of time and money into. And these are digital courses,
Hmm.
they were text-based, they weren't video courses, but you
Hmm.
worked a lot on them for a pretty long period of time, invested money. So can you talk about like the decision process to move away from those and work on something else?
Yeah, I think the biggest aha moment was when we both kind of talked through the type of people that are on my email list, and just realizing that because the kind of what I offer people to join is budget based and kind of like savings based, that my audience, even though I have, 5,000 people on the list, these are people that may just not be spending a lot. So once I kind of figured that out, because I was like, man, I have enough people, content's pretty good. Like there's not another course about it, but these may not be spending people. And that's okay, but probably not worth my time to do this anymore. For the meantime, like I still have the content. It's not going anywhere. I'm not burning it.
Right.
But I do think there are better places for my time that I'm seeing more of a return. So that's kind of where I'm going.
Cool. And just another analogy for the listeners out there, it could be like trying to sell an expensive product to like people that use coupons and try to find the best
Hmm.
deal. Like inherently their goals are to not spend money or not spend
Right.
as much money. So selling a $500 course on how to coupon better, that's a tough sell. Like people
Hmm.
don't want to do that unless maybe you give them
Right.
a coupon code, and then
Right.
you feed the addiction. But the point
Right.
is, frugal people potentially don't want to spend money. And like, if you're trying to sell a multi-$100 course or even $100 course,
Right.
it's maybe not a good fit. So,
Hmm.
okay. Was it hard to just move on? I mean, from you've said you're a type A kind
Hmm.
of gal. And yeah, so was it hard to say like, this didn't work. We got to do something else.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks. I definitely like to succeed at all the things. But the flip side of that is like, also as a type A, I'm not going to be wasting my time. So the flip side is like, well, if it's not working, I'm not going to do more of it. Like, that would be
Perfect.
insane. So yeah, no, not that hard, really.
Okay. Cool. Well, it's good to have moved on. Jumping back to some of the financials here, what were your expenses like? You do track everything, and we'll link up for the blog post where all this is outlined. I know hearing numbers and stats and figures isn't as good as seeing the numbers and seeing the graphs. So we'll link up to that. But yeah, what are your expenses like in September?
Yeah, so I was at around 1,400 for the month, and that was primarily paying for onboarding, some extra onboarding time for the new people in new roles, $500 for developer time, and 500 ish for new content. So nothing crazy there, nothing out of the norm.
Okay. And did you have a specific like monthly budget or an annual budget that you were aiming towards overall this year?
I had kind of I had a budget generally of saying probably $20,000 on content for the year. Since we're not going to do as much content as I originally planned, but I did end up bumping up the pay for the people that I did want to keep for like three or four of them. It's all going to come out in the wash. It's, I think the main thing that I would just say is like I pre-saved for that. So it's not something where I'm relying on the site this year to make that money. So I don't have that kind of like desperate feeling. It's something that like last year I was like, well, next year I want to do a whole bunch of content. So I'm going to save up for that. And so now I just have it. It's sitting there. I can use it without feeling guilty about it. The one that was more expensive than what I thought was having a content manager, just like the amount of time that she would spend. I had no idea how much I would use someone. The flip side of that problem is that she does a bunch of stuff I didn't think she would do. So it's
Awesome.
all okay.
Okay. And that savings sort of mechanism, So basically you have like a war chest for cash flow
Mm-hmm.
this year. So you don't have to worry about the specific revenue of a month to cover the
Right.
next month. Like you already have the
Exactly.
money and you're not
Yep.
borrowing it on a credit card or something like that,
Mm-mm.
which I would not recommend at all at the interest
Don't do that,
rates.
guys.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
It's not financial advice, but definitely don't
No,
do
don't
it.
do that.
It would be very expensive. And I would say, I mean, unless you, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, there's no good way to use a credit card unless you're paying it off each month.
Yeah.
And
And
again,
there's no guarantee with an affiliate site. Like you just don't know.
right.
So yeah, that's not something I'm willing to bet on.
Okay. So expense wise, pretty under control. I know we had some more expensive months here
Mm-hmm.
and there. And you mentioned your team. Can you talk a little bit about who's on your team and you have a new team member here?
So I have a content manager that I haven't had before this year, so that is exciting. She manages all the writers, she assigns all the topics, she does the outlines, she reviews everything, she pulls photos. So that's a lot of stuff that I used to be doing that I'm no longer doing, which is awesome. So I have her, and then I have probably 4 writers that we kept out of maybe 15 that we tried early in the year. So those are the people that are routinely on time, producing good work, and really easy to work with, which is great. So we have those guys. And then of those, we took 3 of them who wanted to do more work. And we did assign one to outreach. And that'll really be starting in October. So that's to sell things out of the media kit, for example, like sponsorship packages, things like that. And then also do some one-on-one outreach to brands and things on social media, etc. Someone to do social media is also another one. I don't spend a whole lot of time there. That's not my jam. I don't really care about it, but you kind of have to be there a little bit. So it's basically a keep the channel alive role. It's kind of how I'm looking at it. And then we have someone that's going to take over email. And I'm excited about that because I want someone who's really focused on like what kinds of people are on our list and what do they care about. So that'll be great. And then I have one person that's going to be assigned to updating existing content, which I'm also really pumped about because she's super fast, very good. And I'm hoping that in 2023, I'll spend more of a focus on that area of kind of the trifecta.
How many people was that total?
4.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
not
four.
plus yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then how many hours do you put in per week, would you say, or per month or something?
Yeah, it's sort of hard to track because I don't track it. I would say I work on the site every day
Okay.
in some form, but mostly I try to kind of bundle reviewing and publishing new content
Okay.
and do that, for maybe 6 hours at a time
Got it.
and just consolidate. So I don't know. It's not a full time job kind of hours since I have other jobs, but
Mhm.
yeah, I'm in there a lot.
Okay. And you mentioned already that you backed off on your initial plan to publish 400 new articles by the end of June. So, where are you at publishing new content and actually just the overview on content? Because you are improving older content
Mhm.
too. So, what's going on with all of that?
Yep. So overall, the site has, let's see, a total of 673 posts currently. That's quite a lot. I started the year at, you can do reverse math. I started the year at 479.
Okay.
So, we're approaching
200.
200 posts, I think. Don't quote me on that. So yeah, it's like, I'll probably do maybe a little over half of what I planned.
Okay.
But in addition, I'll also do more than what I planned in other areas. So yeah, I don't know. It's not bothering me
Right.
anymore. It was periodically bothering me not to hit my own fake goal, but I've stopped being bothered by that.
That's good. Yeah. And
Decided that's not useful.
I think before, because it was 400 before June, which, we set in January. And as we
Mm-hmm.
got started, you realized you were off pace a little bit and there were other things that you needed
Mm-hmm.
to worry about and work on. And then I think once you probably passed maybe like May timeframe, like you'd already
Mm-hmm.
abandoned it. And then you're like, okay, we're going
Yep.
to do something a little different. So a little
Yep.
easier then.
And then, yeah, it just depends. Like, could I have made it happen? Sure, but my life would have been hellish, and I'm just not here for that. So, yeah,
Yep.
it's supposed to be fun
And, and
and earn money,
that's,
but also fun.
yeah. And I mean, you highlight a good thing where, I mean, you mentioned you kind of made up a fake goal, and it's good for us to do that and then
Mm-hmm.
back into like what we need to do each week and month or
Yep.
whatever. But at the same time, like you have to look at the overall picture of what you're trying to do, and it really
Right.
didn't make enough sense to keep pushing
Mm-hmm.
it. And you could always go back to it. You could change your mind and say
Totally.
you're gonna catch up in the last month or something. I don't recommend you do that, but
I didn't burn all the keywords. I still have them all.
right.
I'm just going to keep getting to them when we get to them. That's okay. Like, it's very, I mean, you talk about this a lot, but it's like, this is a long game kind of endeavor.
Hmm.
So, me burning myself out in 6 months, 4 years in is just, that's not going to work.
It's not very helpful.
So,
Yeah.
I'm in a better place.
So you did publish quite a bit of new content, like we said, around 200 articles, and you put together a custom report to see how much traffic that brought in. So where is that at for the year?
Yep. So for the year, it's new articles have brought in 93,000 visitors, which, I mean, we should be up over 100 here pretty soon. So that seems pretty good.
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Is that pretty
awesome.
good?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I was
I
going to
mean,
say,
it's trending this way, which is really good.
and it
That's all I
takes
care.
a little bit for this stuff to rank. But yeah, just looking at the core numbers and doing the rough math in my head, that's like 10% of your traffic that the new
Right.
articles have brought in, which I think is
Right.
good considering some of them are only, a few weeks or a couple months old, right?
Right. Yep.
So, okay, very good.
Yep. The other thing I would say generally about the topics that I picked for that list, like, there's a lot of smaller stuff in there still. So it's not necessarily that I'm going after like giant traffic posts, like keywords, right?
Mhm.
So there's going to be a lot of littler posts making up that number. It's not like I expect to see every single post bring me 100,000 visitors.
Right.
Not going to happen. But overall, I'm just trying to kind of, lift the whole site.
Existing content. So you have someone going and improving some of those, or they will be doing that.
Mhm.
So what kind of progress did you make on those?
Yep. So she was one of the ones that got onboarded in September to do that. So she's now set up in WordPress, and she has her first, I think, 20 posts assigned to her to improve. And those are a mix of things that have dropped out of top 10s that we would like to get back, a mix of new content from the year that's actually doing very well. So continuing to keep those at the top and growing. And then also a mix of things that I've just noticed, like, that one kind of sucks. That could be better.
Right.
Or things where, people have written in and been like, hey, you should add this product or that. And just, adding that kind of to the bottom of the list to be like, yeah, we should do that. That would keep it more current. So it's a mix of those.
Okay. And before you were doing that work yourself, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So we've already, for the year, we added FAQs to 100 posts in 2022. But now going back and also for those posts, like improving the intros, adding more products, increasing word count, things like that. So I did all the FAQ portions, putting those in, and then now I'm handing them off.
Do you have any handle on whether that work has improved the rankings or traffic? Do you know?
So we did set up a new report for that to see what's happening with the overall bunch of posts that we have like retouched this
Mhm.
year. It's a little, I'm still like finding my way through the data to figure out if I'm going to be comparing that to, same period last year, previous period, things like that. Generally, I will be able to see though which specific posts that we have touched have gone up or down, and then the advice that you've given me in the past is like focus on the posts that have gone down with more improvements, go back to those, look at them again, improve them in a different way, and see if we can get the rankings back there. But overall, I'll be able to see which posts have a positive impact. So,
Okay, cool. And that's a report, like you shared it with me privately, and we had a quick
mm-hmm.
look. And I think overall, the traffic is up like 10% from the previous
Mm-hmm.
period. However, we believe there is a little bit of seasonality. So I want you to compare that to the
Yep.
previous year to remove the seasonality component. And
Mm-hmm.
then you can dial down into the specific post where what we're looking for is like something that a post that used to get a lot of traffic where it's dropped, and then we could double check the rankings, and maybe regardless you would still go back and like maybe look at your post really closely, look at some of your competitors to see if there's any kind of information gap, if there's a conceptual
Mm-hmm.
gap, if there's a difference in the search intent or something like that, and
Right.
just kind of true it up and make sure it's where it should be based on what the SERPs are right now. So
For an individual post like that I would pick out and say, well, this one actually went down after we touched it. Would you ever just revert it back to the old version, or would you go and continue tweaking it?
I would probably tweak it. I would make sure to look at the other posts that are now, your competitors that are
Mm-hmm.
ranking above you.
Yeah.
And I would look and do that research and see like, are those covering something different, or is the search intent a
Mm-hmm.
little bit different? And I would potentially try and match it up. So I would do that research, but I would also step back because you're like part of the community and you're like, the content and what's
Mm-hmm.
important to the searcher and all that stuff and what they're really looking for. So I would look and do the research from an SEO standpoint, but I would step back and say, can I make this better? Is this really
Mm-hmm.
what the searcher is looking for? And then potentially if Google has it wrong, I would do whatever the fuck you want. And you're like, this is better content. And like,
Yeah.
because at some point, like it should catch up and you have
Right.
enough other content on your site where you're like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually right about this. And Google doesn't know what they're talking about.
Right. Yeah.
That's when, you do the SEO portion of it and you try your best, but at some point it's like, it's an algorithm on the other
You can't
side.
force
And
it. This is the right, yeah, this is the right article though. So,
yeah.
yeah. Would you say that, so since we have, 3 months left of the year, and I was planning on doing more of a focus on existing content next year, like some of that feels very manual, right? Like that's a lot of like sitting, staring at screens, looking at numbers, looking at competitors. Would I potentially just keep going through the initial list that I have for this year and then next year make a better process around digging into individual articles and seeing what's happening to them?
I would actually start digging into the individual articles. I mean, we're coming up on the retail season, and
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe look at your top 10 posts that
Mm-hmm.
used to get more traffic and they don't get as much now. And
Yep.
I mean, it could be we were looking at the numbers, like one of the posts gets like over maybe like a 3-month period, it was something like 50,000. So we're talking what is that?
Mm-hmm.
13, 17, 17. So it's getting like
Mm-hmm.
17,000 page views per month. And it's like a affiliate driven post. There's a good
Mm-hmm.
chance, right? Like if you move that up, that moves the needle. Like you'll be able to
Yeah.
tell you're getting more traffic. It could be, 10,000 more visitors
Yeah.
per month. And that could lead to, 100 more product sales, for example.
Yep.
So I would look soon and have a look. yourself, go through it, read it, do the research, because you'll look at it a little closer than your person that you just trained. And maybe you'll see something. Especially, have you looked at the competitors recently?
I mean, not for specific posts. Like, I'll go look when I look is when I'm about to publish a new article. And I'm doing some research on like where I'm linking to and what kinds of products are going to, just like checking before I publish something. So I very rarely go back and look at an existing article and who else is ranking for it.
Yeah. I almost never do either, but that's something that we should both do. we should do
both
that.
do that. Okay.
Yeah.
Bill buddies. Yeah.
Don't follow my actions here, but yeah, I would take a look, because it really could move the needle in a significant way coming up onto like a big traffic time frame. So awesome.
Well, doing 10 posts doesn't sound quite as hard. It's just like when I think about trying to track, individual out of 200 things that we touch, I'm just like tired.
Yeah. But if we're talking 10, totally manageable. And the thing is, you have enough, what'd you say, 673 pieces of content. So even if I'm like, hey, just look at 10% of them, like that's a lot. So just look at, what is it, 1.8% or something like that. Yeah. Don't make it too hard. And okay. So you've done a lot on content. You often publish articles getting ready for the retail season. How did that go this year? I know you kind of, you changed your new content publishing plan. So did you back off on that or what?
Yeah, I just sort of had it swallowed into the bigger plan for content. So we're doing a mix of things that are buyer's intent and ads. But given how well November specifically went last year, that was our highest month ever. And that, was before we added any new content. So I still feel like even though I didn't do a holiday specific sprint, the combination of things that we've done should still have a pretty good holiday. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That was last November crossed 9,000 in a month, which I thought was bananas. So that's where I'd like to be. I'd like to be at 10. Frankly, I would like to have one 10K month. That would make me really happy. If we had 3, I wouldn't be sad. Right. I mean, that would be fine. But 1 would be pretty cool. So, and we'll see.
You were very close, a year ago. You did have like a product launch, and I think that was about $1,000, but you do have a sort of a different revenue source with some like direct advertising deals via your media kit. So how's that going?
So that I'm pretty optimistic about. So that was another person we onboarded last month who should be starting to work through like my list of target brands. But it's been awesome to just have something that I can send to people who reach out to our like outreach, email address, most of which is spam, obviously. Like you get the same stuff I do, which is mostly trash. But since I am in the industry, like I know what's not trash. So for the odd couple, it's really nice to have just something ready to go and be like, sure, we'd love to engage with you. Here are your options. So we had one $500 sale, and since we're filming this in October, I think we're going to have another sale from the media kit by then, and that's without doing any proactive outreach. So that's just responding to people who contact us. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that's almost as much as I thought I would have made in the second course launch.
Okay.
So that's positive.
What capacity do you have for these extra like direct advertising deals? Like how many could you load up on if you sold as many as you have room for?
Oh, as many as we want, because they're not ad space. So I'm not allowed to do like specific ad space because I'm with Mediavine and that's against their terms of whatever. What I did include in the media kit is a direct link. So Mediavine has you can buy directly into my site's ad space. So like you can still do that. It's through them though. And we include a link to it. What I'm selling is essentially sponsored posts on the site emails, and social posts. So there's really no limit to how many of those we could do.
Okay. So that's pretty cool. And I guess there's some capacity of emails because you wouldn't send more than like
Sure.
whatever, like 2 per week or something like that.
I'd love to have that problem.
Okay.
If we run up on that problem, I will come up with a solution for it.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, it's pretty cool if you could have those direct deals. And then on the Mediavine side, so you said there's a way that the advertiser can, buy via Mediavine. Do they take any revenue from that, or do they just facilitate the transaction or something?
They essentially facilitate it. All runs through the same process that normal ad buys do on their end. It just means that people can specifically have their ads on my site. So it's pretty cool for me. I do literally nothing, but that wasn't even an option as of, I think, a year ago. So it's a new feature. And what I can't do is really tell if anyone does it, because it just ends up in like the big ad space. I might be able to reach out to them and see.
Yeah.
That might make sense like after a couple of months. But
yeah,
I do like that I'm able to send people somewhere. Like if they want to do ads, that's completely fine. They just go through Mediavine, like they upload their graphics, they select the dates they want to run, and I'm done.
Okay. And then, sorry, does Mediavine take any revenue?
So from what I understand, it just runs the same way as every other ad scenario that we have. So I think there's like a minimum $200 buy or something like that.
Yeah. Double check that. I have a feeling maybe they don't take their normal cut, which I have no clue what it is, but I suspect it's healthy. But if you're doing all the sales and they're just I mean, it's good that they're managing like the ad placement and all that kind of stuff. But it would suck if they were taking like whatever 40% or something. I'm just making that up. But if they were taking a big chunk, that kind of sucks because you did the sales, not them.
Yeah. At the same point, though, I'm not going to do it a different way. So that's 60% that I wasn't going to have.
The different way you potentially could do it, right, is turn off ads for that URL and then put up their banner. And then you have it up. Like it's fairly straightforward. And if it could mean, one deal is not it.
I think it could get me kicked out though.
Oh, fuck that. That's crazy.
Like I'm not.
It's like I'm sure they're not taking their normal cuts.
Yeah. But generally it's like if we manage your ads, like you don't sell ads to other people.
Gotcha. Interesting. Well, double check it.
It's kind of like, it's kind of like not messing with Amazon because you don't want to get kicked out. Like, that's the space I'm in for both, where I'm just like, I follow the rules, okay?
Yeah. But I was going to say, like, Amazon doesn't have a sort of comparable competitor that you can work with, but there are a bunch of other display ad networks that you could. At the same time, it's like there's extra work to it. But the big thing is the sales. So like if you close the deal, then especially if you're hiring someone to do it, but it'll all work out. Good news is the media kit works and like, it's better.
I would encourage everyone to make one. Like hop into Canva, make yourself a template, make it one page if you want, and just have it available when people reach out to you. Because it kind of gets rid of the people who are just tire kickers and are annoying. And then, you might make some money.
Do you list your pricing directly on there or do you make them contact you? Okay.
Nope.
Cool. I think I'm going to do that. I have one for this show and, kind of the common practice is to not put the pricing in there, but like, I think I will put it in just because either
like, don't
it's
ask
in the right price
questions.
range. Yeah. I mean? It's like either
we're both anti-talking to people, so don't ask me any questions.
It's like, here's the pricing.
Right.
So, okay, cool. Very good. Well, we are starting to wrap it up here. So overall, really good month and, made some progress. What do you have going on coming up for like October, November?
So October, I am playing catch up on all the new content that I haven't actually published. So we'll probably have another 30 posts or so in October that go up, which is great. That's like in a good amount of time for the holidays, I feel like. I should have people actually like starting to send out new emails, from our new team, starting to take over social. I should have probably 20 posts updated from our new gal that's doing that. So I'm hoping to see kind of the team part start running. My content manager did get married and go on her honeymoon in September, October. So there's a little pause there that is understandable. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. And then, yeah, just trying to make sure that, setting things up for 2023, which seems insane, but that's almost here. So figuring out what I want to focus on for that year. So if people have ideas, totally open to, what people think I should be spending time on.
Awesome. Well, congrats on, the birthday for the site,
Thanks.
hitting kind of a high revenue mark for this year. And
High traffic.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything's plugging along. And we didn't even talk about, I'll just summarize it really quick. Yeah, through the various algorithm updates the last month and a half or so, your site has been faring well. Either you don't notice anything or potentially your traffic is going up, but you're doing a few things that would increase the traffic and ranking. So it's hard to attribute any specific
I haven't
causation.
seen any huge issue though for
Which
many
is
of that.
great.
So.
I was chatting with a guy yesterday, and every algorithm update is a little terrifying for him, and he pays attention to like the news a little more than you do. So he's
Just
like
none.
he knows when the updates are coming around. So cool.
Yeah, I can't have that stress in my life, Doug. I just can't.
Yeah, it's no good. You'll know. There's not anything you can do.
Yeah, I'm gonna notice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just can't get that granular. That doesn't work for me specifically. But
all right. Well, we'll link up so people could check out the blog post, of course, and you can check out all the other videos in this series or podcast wherever you're consuming this. And I mean, you could really follow along from the very beginning and like see the journey along the way. So thanks, Christy.
You can see us age.
Yeah. At the beginning, I had long hair like to my shoulders. It was crazy.
I look like a baby. Yeah.
All right. We'll catch you next week or
All right. Thanks.
next month.